Hi, I'm Corey, and I have a bit of a problem. I have an old Be'lak Noir miniature, and it's way smaller than the new version. This is my attempt at raising it up to the new model's size while having a little bit of fun with it. Now, I love how shiny the tiles look, which is too bad because I'm going to have to cover them all up now. I'm adding Flow Improver to Mod Podge to get it to flow into the cracks, where I'll be adding sand as grout. This basing material is a combination of Mod Podge, moss, sand, tile grout, and water. To taste. When I heated up these body parts and moved them into place, I found that they kept going back to where they originally were a little too quick. So I got an ice pack and held the model against it to get it cold quickly. And I found that actually worked way better at kind of freezing it in position. I don't think they were the best thing to come out of this model, but they are definitely the thing I'm most excited about. Little nurglings wearing bowler hats. I envisioned a detective version of Be'lak Noir to not be squeaky clean like an adorable Pikachu creature. I'm imagining him still covered with weapons and detective accoutrements of the 41st millennium. I wanted to make his jacket torn, his weapons rusty, and his apparel as filthy as the streets of the city he dwells in. Now, if I know film noir, and I don't, there's always a woman with a big hat. So this demonette is going to be that woman. I messed around in Blender to have her have one shoe that will have fallen from her foot to the ground to be picked up by our hard-boiled detective. A small indication that something is awry, moments before the trap is sprung. I was struggling to find a way to incorporate all of the gods into this diorama, or their minions, and I had it in my head that they all had to be represented. I settled on the blue horror levitating the Nurglings up over the ledge to pounce, while the Bloodletter is in a snappy suit and gets right up in his face, which I think makes sense to me the way that they'd act if 40k was, 90 years ago and complete. Like, it makes sense. It kind of makes sense to me. So just a heads up, I tried editing in all of the named paints that I've used, but it got pretty cluttered. So if you don't catch a name of a paint and you need to know what it is, just ask. I promise it won't get lost in the sea of comments by my tens of subscribers. Be'lak or Be'lak Noir, I guess, was my first time painting a ton of black. I ended up highlighting with Abyssal Blue from scale 75 and then washing the whole thing in some diluted contrast black and gray, and then very sparingly highlighting, keeping most of the highlight transition near the point of reflection instead of gradually from the shadow all the way up to the highlight. I don't know if a yellow trench coat is era appropriate, but when I see a trench coat, all I can think of is April O'Neil, because I have some sort of terminal millennial poisoning. So I was really liking how this dirty down rust was looking. So I put more and more. And then I had to make it grimier to go along with that, obviously. But then I had to make everything much sandier and messier. So things kind of got out of hand. Honestly, I likely made a lot of the previous steps a bit pointless, but sometimes you don't know where something is going to take you until you're there doing it. And that's my excuse for having no discipline. One thing a lot of people don't consider is it's very important when mixing resin to use a scratch guard for an IKEA table leg. Before you get into making dioramas like this, I suggest ordering as many tables from IKEA as possible. That way you'll have enough scratch protectors as you'll need to mix the resin in. You wouldn't want to run out of them halfway through the project and just have to end up throwing the whole thing into the trash. I'm using a 3D printing curing station light instead of a UV flashlight because I have the patience of a day fly, but the little flashlights work fine. You just have to hold it there longer. But if you're doing a lot of this stuff, it can get kind of frustrating, and those huge lights just absolutely nuke this stuff. It hardens really quick. I think that just about does it. One of my favorite, but probably weirdest dioramas that I've ever made. Later, gumshoes.